Hey baddies!
What's up, guys?
We are on episode 8 today. Today we are getting a little fun with it. It's a little like game showy kind of. Today we are doing questions that couples are afraid to ask one another. We feel like we aren't afraid to ask these questions. Like as we reviewed these, we were like, not that scared because like we've really already talked about most of these. But I feel like other couples could be afraid of them because they have surface level relationships.
And surface level relationships are very easy. Deep relationships, however, with deep conversations, not only for vulnerability, but for the answers provided, gets a little bit scary for everyone involved, especially if you're not as close with your partner as you think you are.
And healthy relationships are hard. Healthy relationships are not easy. They are not quick. They can be fun. But when hard or deep conversations have to come into play, it's not easy and it's not fun. But you have to do that to better yourselves and to better your relationship. Because inherently, if you're not working on your relationship, you're not having those hard conversations, you're not working on a better you. So that shitty spot that you hit in your relationship is going to surface in every relationship you have, whether those are intimate, familial, or friendships. You're always going to run into that problem because you're not willing to have those hard conversations. And sometimes it's not so much about the other person as it is you. So
Absolutely.
let's dive in. Question number 1 is, what's your biggest fear about us?
You go first.
I mean, of course, the very like taboo one that like we're not going to work out. And we have known each other for so long that I was so quick to be like, yep, this is it. I'm ready to go. I literally asked you pulling into a Perkins. I was like, so when we go to Vegas in 2 months, do you want to get married? And you literally said,
Yeah, I was
what?
What did you just say?
I was like, I don't know. Like, do you? Like, or like, I mean, sorry. I literally, you said, what?
Well,
and I said,
POV.
never mind. My bad. Sorry. Nope. Bro, bad question.
POV, I'm like 30 days sober at this point, and I'm like, this girl wants to do what with me? So, yeah.
Okay. No, I was like, Frankie, I don't have to get to know you. I have known you. I've known you my whole life. Like, whatever. So I feel like I was so quick to dive in after telling myself time and time again, I was never going to do this again. And, well, here we are. And we have hitched our wagons so close together that you can't tell where one ends and the other one starts.
Nope. Those bitches are welded.
Yeah. So I of course, like I said, the taboo answer that it's not going to work out. And that's because we already have so much invested now that give us another year, give us 5, give us 10, 20, and good Lord, how are we ever going to separate? Because like, and not just the materialistic, not just our business, not just our home, not just our everything that we've tied together as far as insurances and phone bills and
Or the tattoos.
face tattoos, but the emotional things and the mental and the things that we have gone through together in our healing journeys. I don't think anybody else would ever be able to compare. So I think that losing what we have built emotionally and mentally together, even just since we've gotten back together in this short period of time, let alone our lifetime, it would never be comparable. I know that I have, unfortunately, but fortunately for you, looked at our relationship even as adolescents and compared it to my adult relationships in regards to, well, I was always so much more comfortable when I had this experience with Frankie, or I always felt more comfortable talking about this when it came to Frankie, or our fights were never like this, or whatever that is. So, I mean, now that we're healing on a completely different level and we're that much more mature than we were when we were in high school and middle school, it's just, I don't think nothing would ever compare, which I'm sure for you, you're like, great, that's awesome. Okay, your turn. What is your biggest fear about us?
So, honestly, I feel like my biggest fear is also rooted in some of my trauma, because my biggest fear is the fear of abandonment. It's not even the fear that we won't work out, because you're really good at not allowing either of us to run away from conflict or from problems. You're very solution-based with everything that we have, even from big things to little things, right? So it's, you know, being in a relationship with you is very vulnerable in the best of ways, because, you know, you don't encourage things to be brushed under the rug, big or small. So it's not even that I worry that things won't work out. It's that I worry that, and again, this is rooted in trauma, so it's not even rooted in reality or anything that you've ever done, because the majority of times we ever even broke up as kids, it was because of me. He's like, let's be so for real. But there's this fear inside of me that one day you're gonna wake up and just simply say, you know what, I don't love you anymore. You're not good enough. You're not this. You're not that. You know? And like I said, those fears aren't even rooted in reality. Those are just part of my trauma. So, you know, my material experience doesn't necessarily reflect my biggest fear. So I feel like as I continue with my healing journey, that fear will very much dissipate.
Right. 100%. Good one. Your self-awareness in our episodes that we've sat down to record today has been immaculate.
Thank you. I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting with my
I
12-step program.
Okay, so question 2. When do you feel the most loved? You're going to answer first this time because you made me.
Okay. Well, I feel loved quite a bit in our relationship. I feel like there is
you are very loved.
Thank you. I feel that there is a surplus of love in our relationship. So pinpointing the one time that I feel the most loved,
or better yet, what act of service or what love language per se action do I do that makes you feel the most loved?
Well, I'm definitely a words of affirmation type person. I think that when I feel not even the most loved, but I'll say the most supported, because like I said, there's so much that you do that makes me feel loved. So we'll go with supported. When I feel the most supported is when, you know, you just look in my eyes and say, honey, I understand how you feel, and you repeat back to me how I feel. You know, you kind of do that mirroring with me, because it kind of allows me to feel as though you're completely on my level and I'm not alone with anything. So that's when I feel the most supported and the most cared for, as far as like acts or not acts of service, love language, and as far as love languages are concerned.
Yeah. It's funny that I asked like love language, because I still am like, I don't know, what is my love language? But she'll be able to tell you what my love language is just from like living with me. So what is my love language?
Well, you verbally say that it's acts of service, but I respectfully disagree, because I feel like that just comes from your hyper independence. So you're like, yeah, do acts of service, just please help me out in any way, it makes me feel better. And I'm like, well, that's not a love language, it's just support, baby. Like, what the hell? So I feel like your actual love language is quality time, and I do think that you really like gifts, because when I get you little trinkets and things, even when I got you that candy bar the other day, it like started a whole thing where you're now obsessed with Heath bars.
Literally. You know? Oh my god. Oh, you said it, and now I'm gonna go home and I have a Heath bar. No, and you do, like, it's literally like as soon as my pop socket breaks, you're ordering me a new one. Like, I literally said the other day, we were in the car and I was like, gosh, my steering wheel has been through hell. My steering wheel cover has been through hell. And you were literally, I look over and you're on Amazon trying to find the exact steering wheel cover to get me a new one. Like, oh my gosh, girl, please. Yeah. But I don't know what to do with that. And I think that's why it makes me be like, I don't know what my love language is because you're right. Like, the hyper independence in me and the lack of having somebody show up in any of those, in any category of a love language for me, makes me very confused as to what do I like? What do I want? And so I just figured that would be a fun little one to ask you since you know me so well. But I feel like I feel most loved, and to your point, I always feel loved by you, but I really do resonate with what you just said about, because I have crippling anxiety, primarily around our animals. And you literally clocked me this morning so hard that I'm like, oh shit. Like, because I keep finding myself like falling into a bit of anxiety and then having to clock myself and be like, there's nothing. My best friend Taylor will say all the time, because she has a phobia of flying, and Taylor will be like, as a passenger, if that plane starts to go down, what can you do about it? Not a damn thing. Like, what can you do? You know? And I feel like that, between that hitting with me and Frankie saying to me this morning, I think that your trauma with animals is why you have, not that my trauma with my animal, like previous animals, and their health conditions equals my trauma, but any time that there was something traumatically, medically going on for one of my animals, my little fur baby critter babies, it was happening at a time when my life was so chaotic that now my nervous system just automatically relates it to, oh my God, everything else is falling apart as well. So for me to have to put myself in check and be like, one, even if there is something atrociously wrong that is around the corner, what can I do about it? Two, worrying makes you suffer twice. Three, I forgot what I said that you said to me. Oh, that it's not as catastrophic as I think it is. It never is. Losing an animal is so heartbreaking, but in the worst case scenario, that something actually was wrong with one of my babies, and that's the route that it had to go. My entire life is not going to fall apart because of it, as much as that's where that relates. So, to circle full back, that's where I feel like the most support and the most love from you, because I spiral so quick. Like the second that Savvy, my oldest cat, he's literally 7, and I will freak out the second he, like, if he's meowing too much for the day, I'm like, do you think he's okay? Do you think he's fine? What the heck? Literally, he did that yesterday. He was literally just all over us, wouldn't leave us alone, and I was like, something's wrong. He's trying to get our attention, and Frankie's like, I think he wants to play. And sure enough, she throws a little catnip mouse around for him 5-6 times. He chases it, and then he just laid on his side. And then she goes to throw it again, and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm good. And he left. He was done. He was done chirping. He was done crying. He was done rubbing on everybody. He took a nap with his legs in the air.
Yep.
Like the fluffy little ball that not little, he's large. Yeah.
He's Garfield, man.
So I feel like for me, that's where I feel the most supported, is when you can look at me and be like, baby, I promise you there's nothing wrong. And if it comes up that something is wrong, we've got this. I've got you, because I have, in those instances, like you said, something small is happening, but because of all this other huge stuff that's going on in my life that is falling and crumbling down around me, I'm hyper fixated on the littler thing because it helps me be distracted from all the other big stuff. But in turn, that just gave me a different version of PTSD over something that didn't have to be that traumatic and that rough. So I think that you being able to, literally, I'm just turning what you said into a very long personalized version instead of being like, yes, honey, I feel the exact same way. You took the words out of my mouth. But really, I do. Like, when it comes to something that is traumatizing for me or just really hard for me to navigate because of previous experiences, you come at it not just in a psychological aspect, but also as a supportive partner. So I don't feel like I'm being mansplained to. I feel supported and I feel loved, and we're able to navigate that situation through and through. So, number 3, what's something that you wish I understood?
That's a difficult one because I feel like you understand me so well.
I know. That was the one question that I was like, ooh. I quite literally don't have. Well, that one and the next one, because I feel like we're so open with each other that, like, because our next question that's going to come up is, what insecurity do you hide? And, like, I couldn't hide an insecurity from you if I tried.
No, I'll call you out so quick. I'll
and like,
excuse me.
There are literally things that I'll be like, no, I'm good. I've healed from that. I'm whatever. I'm moved on. And Frankie will be like, so let's talk about that. Like, I don't know if you guys clocked it in the last episode where I'm like rambling on about how comforting it is to have somebody who blah, 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 blah. And she'll be like, so let's talk about that for a second. Like, she does that with our friends as well, where she will literally hear them say like something and she'll be like, so can I ask you a personal question about that? Like, she literally turned into full-blown like psychiatrist over here. And I love it. I love it because, and I feel like for you, I do the same thing where we both, like, we've known each other for so long that when it comes to like oh, you don't understand me, you don't understand what I've been through, you don't understand that. I may not have been through that exact same scenario as you, but I understand whether it's anxiety, PTSD, depression, whatever, the triggers. I get that, and we're able to kind of go hand in hand into those circumstances, and we're not hiding any insecurities because, like, no, we can almost read each other better than we can read ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like to put those two questions together and come out with a different question, not even a question, just a statement, I feel like it almost, like, I don't want to say like it frustrates us, because frustration is not the emotion, nor is it the appropriate word. But for lack of a better term, it almost gets like, I want to bop you upside the head with a fucking newspaper, because I'm like, baby, I see you. I see this insecurity. I see this underlying trauma. I see what you're trying to, like, avoid in yourself in this moment with this CPTSD, with that anxiety, with this trigger. Just open your damn eyes so we can move through this. Mm-hmm. And I know that I know that you could say the exact same thing. So that's where we have to, like, almost be like, honey, I understand what's happening. I'm here for you. Do you think that this is stemming from blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And it comes into, like, this therapized moment. So we're not really hiding anything or not understanding each other in...
Yeah, no, even things that are very difficult, like with my CPTSD, like when I do get triggered, like the only thing that even remotely comes to mind is like when I get triggered, you know, and I know that you know this, so it's difficult to even bring this up, but, like, I just hope that you know when I get triggered over X, Y, and Z, it's obviously never your fault. You've never done anything wrong, but you know that. And, like, on the contrary, you even...
Cracking my ankles real quick over here for anybody that's, like, looking at the camera.
She's done that since we were kids. Every morning of our lives, she'll do this weird foot thing. And
I just, like, moved my foot weird, and I was like, oh my god, if I don't crack my ankle right now. And then I was like, anybody who actually is watching this on Spotify or on YouTube is going to look at me on the camera right now and be like, what is she doing over there? You're having, like, a serious moment, and I'm, like, doing yoga poses over here. Sorry, circle back.
No, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, like, when I get triggered, you know, I just like I said, I just hope that you know that it's nothing that you've done wrong. But I know that you know that because you often even comfort me and let me know that I'm not doing anything wrong. That flashbacks and having triggers is going to be a normal part of the healing process when dealing with trauma. So I really don't think that, you know, I have anything that I wish that you understood. I thankfully am in a position in my life, finally, where I feel fully seen.
I feel like the only thing we could say is we wish the other person understood that we understand.
Yeah.
We wish the other person understood that we see them for who they are. Mm-hmm. And there's no judgment here. We wish the other person understood that they are loved, they are cared for, and they are never going to be judged or taken advantage of. So I feel like that's really the only thing, because you've said before when you're, like, full blown going down that frickin' spiral hole, you will say, you don't understand. And I'll say, I'm going to stop you right there. Mm-hmm. Because you know for a fact I do understand. I can't relate to your exact situation, but I understand, and I will give you an example. And then you just kind of are starting to, like, come out of that spiral.
Well, and part of it too is never in my adult life did I have someone who actively knew me when I was going through those things, because we had a childhood together. You know what I mean? So, like, you do. There's that piece of hair again that she's moving out of my face. For those watching on Spotify, she's
listening on Spotify. They're not watching on Spotify.
Girl, whatever. But yeah, okay. Moving on to our next question.
Because again, we just went over number 3 and number 4, which was kind of a skip for us because we just know each other so well. The final one. What moment made you know that this was real?
Well, that's a two-parter for me, right?
Oh.
Because when we were kids, there was a point where I was spending the night at your house, and we were cuddling, and it was the first time in my entire life that I felt safe. Genuinely, tummy muscles relaxed, kind of safe. And that's when I knew that what we had was something far bigger than our age. It was something far bigger than the two of us just as being kids or the environment that we grew up in. What we had was something that I've never even seen other people have before, because the sense of peace that I felt in that chaos and the way that I looked at you, and it was like those blue eyes just lit up my entire world and fulfilled a sense of hope and longing that I've craved for my entire life. That was when I knew that.
I'm like getting misty-eyed. Shut the fuck up.
But yeah, that's when I knew that what we had was something on a cosmic level, because I could feel it in every atom of my being. So that's part one. And part two is when we were adults, and you definitely had to rescue me from a rehab facility.
I was gonna ask, at what point do you want to tell that story?
We will reserve that for a whole episode, so stay tuned for next episode.
Is that what you want to do for our next episode?
That is what I want to do for our next episode. So we're writing it down. It's in stone now, chiseling it in there. So
Becca's Captain Save-A-Ho mission.
Yes, Captain Save-A-Ho mission. I'm the hoe. So I won't spoil the whole story, but Becca did have to come all the way to Minnesota to come and rescue me. And unfortunately, the journey here I didn't quite remember, and we'll go into why later on. But it was the next day where I was in a lot of physical pain from withdrawal, and you sat on the couch and you told me that I was beautiful and that you love me and that you're here for me. And now I'm gonna fucking cry, because to have somebody who could see me in such a low state in my life and still look at me and see beauty and tell me that they're not gonna leave me, and to say that they're here for me in that state that I was in after I had just set my entire life on fire and burned every bridge, it just reinstated, like, this is my same old Becca, my peace in the chaos, so
why are we crying on camera?
Because we're fucking emotional little noodles. You know what? Whatever, you're cute when you cry, so.
I feel like that's why, like, to circle back to, like, one of our previous questions for this episode, I feel like that's why when I was like, should we get married when we go to Vegas? You literally said, you were like, you want to marry me right now. Like, you literally couldn't believe that I was like, yes, Frankie, let's do this. Because I was like, yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What do you, like, what? Of course I do. And you were like, you want to hitch your wagon to this crazy. And I was like, baby, I've wanted to hitch my wagon to this crazy since I was 12 years old. Like, shut up. Like, so I feel like that kind of goes with, like, your part two is you just, I feel like still, like, we both will still be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like as much as you have part one, part two, and I'll give my answer in a moment, I feel like we both still have that moment of like, oh my God, this is real. Like, we're really together. We're really doing this, because sometimes it just feels so surreal. We were leaving Walmart 2 days ago, and she literally looks at me, quite literally, it couldn't have been more cinematic, picturesque, because we're leaving Walmart and the sun is setting, and we've had a great day. We're just running our errands, just having a good time. And quite literally, like I said, sun setting, beautiful colors in the sky. And she grabs my hand and she goes, we're finally doing it. We're living life together like we've always talked about. And I was like, yeah. And we're literally just grocery shopping. Like, because we are quite literally just like, we have talked about this for so long. And here we are now, like, doing it and living together and married and cooking together. And when we got done with our gym and morning run and shower and we were done journaling and everything this morning, and she cooked breakfast, I'm combing my hair, and she asks me like how many eggs I want or whatever, and she just stops and she looks at me and she's like, I love life with you. And all we did was basic things in the morning, but we did them together, and that's something that we've talked about for literally 2 decades. Is just living together and existing together. So I think for me, not only am I still wrapping my head around, it's not that I don't know that this is real, because I know what we have between us is real, but the reality of us being together is still so surreal for me. I guess I don't have an exact moment when I knew. You're so poetic. Like, you have always been that way. And so, of course, you're going to have, like, the 2 stories that make everybody freaking cry. And then we're crying on camera and all this shit. I guess I knew right away that it was real. Because you were quite literally my awakening to the fact that I even liked girls at all. So, for me, like, I knew it was real right away. And then I feel like the big kicker for me that made me be like, this is so much different than anything I've ever experienced. While I already knew that, the real, like, holy shit that straight comes to my mind is us moving you down here. The final trip, it was like February 5th, 6th, something like that. We were in Minnesota, and we packed up all of your stuff. We did not argue not once. We didn't have no issues not once. It was just so seamless. Like, it was supposed to happen. And it's like the universe literally was like, we're going to give you guys this day with not a single hiccup, not a single issue. Because you got this, like, this is supposed to happen. And so I felt like that was the moment where in adulthood, that I was like, holy shit. Like, because it just felt like everything aligned so that we could just get you down here. We could just wrap up the life of us being apart and us being separated and move into this together. And so I genuinely, quite literally, like, as the Notebook-ish as this is gonna sound, there is not a single day that we are together that there isn't a new reason for me to be like, this is real and what we have is so special and so just divine and delicious and scrumdiddlyumptious. I feel like you remember our childhood so much better than me, though. And like I said, I genuinely feel like the first day that I, like, met you and was like, oh shit, like, I was like, this is gonna be something else, because I had never even realized, thought of, recognized that I was gay in any of the alphabetical letters, let alone gonna come right back to you. So there has not been a moment since you came back into my life as adults that I have not been like, oh yeah, we're gonna be back together, that's the girl, that's the one. Because especially after years of missing you and wishing you were there, or wondering where you're at, or wondering if you're thinking about me, and you finally come back full circle into my life, that was really the moment of like, oh, this is meant to be. Like, I wasn't the only one thinking about the other person for years. I'm not the only person who was missing you. You know what I mean? So I feel like since you've come back in, like I said, there has quite literally not been a day, not been a moment where I haven't been like, damn, like, it's always been you and it's always going to be you. So
I love you so much.
I love you. They're going to be like, this is so gay.
Yeah, we're gooey together.
Do you have any other questions that you feel like other couples struggle asking each other or bringing up? I mean, we could get real deep with it, but I feel like the people don't want us to get that ooey gooey on here, or us to brawl it out on camera.
To lighten things, yes, there is a question that I feel like couples don't ask each other enough, but we ask this almost every single day, and it's the simple, how are you doing today? How are you feeling today? I don't feel like a lot of couples ask that. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of check-in. I feel like there's a surface level, hey honey, how was your day today? Oh, good, blah, blah, blah. This person pissed me off at the office. Oh, okay, what do you want for dinner? but a legitimate, how are you feeling today? Are you overwhelmed? Are you happy? Are you sad? I feel like not a lot of people ask that of their partner. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people ask their partner, which again we ask each other a lot. What can I do better for you as your partner?
If you weren't going to bring that one up, I was going to, because that is something that quite literally I picked those 2 questions up on how to save a marriage when my marriage was already fucking fried, burnt, sizzled, crispy, gone, done, ashes. And I saw on a Facebook reel that those are 2 questions that you should ask your partner. Not necessarily on a daily basis, but pretty frequently, like on the regular, to better your relationship. And I feel like the sooner you can start implementing those questions, the better, because it really will just elevate your experience and theirs. Because now, like in the beginning, when you would be like, oh, how are you feeling today? How are you doing? Oh, yeah, good. I'm tired. I'm whatever. But now, like, it's instant that, like, how are you feeling today? Gets us into a whole full-blown conversation and really just kind of skyrockets our communication and our connection, even just in that moment. But then, of course, that's going to carry on to later, because you're going to learn a lot about your partner just in that one question and in that one conversation that evening, to help them and how you can show up for them differently in both of those questions, so that next time you ask, hopefully they're a little lighter, or there's something different that they can say. That's a rule that we have when we ask each other, how can I be a better partner to you right now? Our rule is you can't say, oh, nothing. We have to come up with an answer. And that's why we don't ask it every single day, because every single day there isn't going to be something that I expect you to do different as my partner. And genuinely, it's already really hard to be like, oh, this is how you can show up for me more. It's a good check-in point, but I don't recommend asking that one more than once a week, because you're going to put too much pressure on yourself as the partner asking it. You're also not going to give your partner enough time to assess the previous time that you asked, and if you've even made any changes from the last time that you asked them that. So giving a little bit of space between there, but genuinely, like, the how are you feeling today goes so much further than how was your day today. Because even if I had a really good day, that doesn't mean that something inside isn't aligned. And I feel like she asks that when she can tell, and vice versa.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very easy to read you, despite what you may think. I have known you my entire life.
Whatever, you say all the time, you're like, I can't read you the way that I usually could read other people.
When you get in your hanger moods, yeah, it's like fucking walking in a
I'm hangry right now. Can you not read me?
I can. That's why I'm poking at you.
Fuck you. Okay, well, let's wrap this up. Let's go home and eat something so you can work on your painting. I can do some fruit-themed nails, and we can watch some Vampire Diaries and cut.
Yeah, that's what we're going to
do. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, comment, share it to your friends. Tell us what you're thinking about it so far, and we will catch you guys next week for episode 9, when we tell you all about Becca's Captain Save-A-Ho journey to pick Frankie up.
Mm-hmm. And if you like us being all gooey and lovey, drop a red heart in the comments below.
A red heart? Black and pink.
Black and pink, excuse me. Black and pink heart in the comments below.
Enid to the Wednesday.
Yes. Okay, black and pink heart, comments below. Adios,
okay,
guys.
We will catch you guys later. Bye, baddies.